Okay, so just to show you the very basics of Unreal, so that any of you that are a bit worried about going in there and not sure what to do, where to start, we'll start off by loading up Unreal by opening the software. You will get this screen appearing, which will show you any recent projects that you've made, if you've opened them on this PC that you're on at the moment. If not, you will need to go down to that browse button here, and then it will allow you to locate wherever your file is that you can open. If you're making one from scratch, we're looking at this games area here, where we can add in a third person, for example, to allow us to run around the scene, which helps us check out our environment and check scalings and things too. So that's quite a good one for us to start on. You don't need to do anything here. You may have starter content ticked on. You can choose to keep that on or you can take it off. It's completely up to you. It just means that the project will open with more items inside of it if you have it on, which can be quite useful in terms of maybe there's extra materials there that you want to muck around with, or objects that you can use for testing purposes. So I'll switch it off for now. And the other thing is that I would just say is make sure the project location here is right for you. If you're working on the uni computers, you probably don't want to leave it in the default area. You may lose your work if you do. So do make sure that you're browsing and selecting a more suitable area for yourself there, and then it's just naming that project, and leaving it on the default isn't smart there either. So to make it fit to what we need, calling it something like environments or my environment. Click create when you're ready. And your editor will load up. Shouldn't take too long. There you go. So because we opened a third person one, it will come on with this default third person map. If you press play, you can run around a bit. So this is the character you've got, and this is just your default map that you get here. Press escape and it will release your mouse again. So this is the area that we can test in, but we don't want to keep this default zone here. Just as a quick one as well, if you didn't open a third person template, you can always add that in later. So you can add these in retrospectively. So if you ended up just clicking a blank file, it's not a problem. You could always add these in after if you do feel like you do prefer to have a person that you can run around with. Okay, so don't worry about that if that's happened. So here in the content drawer, I've chosen to keep mine pinned up there by docking it in the layout, by the way. So I've got this content browser here docked. You've got a bunch of folders here that show you everything that's in your project. So this is where your content is. You've got a folder here for your level prototyping. Now that's come in, and that third person one and the characters one, all because of this third person map that we've got, and the third person character that's running around. So we've got a load of stuff in there that's been brought in because of that. You can make new folders by right clicking there, and making whatever it is that works for what you need. So feel free to do that. You can save a new level and open a new level. So for example, if you wanted to save this current level third person map, you'll see this is a level file here. That's a level map there. So we've got that one. Really, for us, we don't need to keep this. When it comes to what we're doing, we won't need to use this default one. The best one for you to go for, I think, if you go to new level, is this basic one here. The open world one's got a lot going on in there that you don't really need. So go for this basic one here, and you've got a nice little platform to get started on, and you haven't got too much clutter in the background and things that you need to adjust. It's quite a simple area here for you to look at. So once you've got that, don't forget to save it then. So you're going to save your current level as my level, just so it's got something on there. Oops, done my wording all wrong. So my level, I'll keep it at that top level as well. We don't really need that one, so you could delete it if you want to. I didn't really need to save that one. There you go. And there we've got my level, and this is going to be the world that we're going to use. When you have made your level over here, what you do want Unreal to do is open up the correct level for you, so that you're not seeing the default level open up each time. So if you go to edit, and I'm sure it's project settings, I always get them mixed up. When you go to project settings, if you go to maps and modes, you'll see this area here where it's actually telling you now the editor on startup is going straight to the third person map. We don't want that. We actually want to go to your level instead, and we'll change the default map to your level as well, because that's quite a smart thing to do at this point. Something that I find quite useful for me anyway is, so we've done that, we can close that. If we go to, edit and editor preferences, I prefer to change the middle mouse pan to invert it on the viewports one. So I don't know if that's good for you, but if you're panning and it feels like it's going the wrong way for you, do be aware that you can invert the pan. And for me, that's what I do anyway. I much prefer that. Something that will be quite useful for you as you're going through this world and you've got objects in there and you want to save certain key locations is if you press Control and 1 on the keyboard, it's putting a bookmark for me in the 1 key. If I press Control, and just so it's a bit different, I'll look that way. If I press Control and 2, I'm setting another bookmark. And what that means is I can press 1 to go back to that view and 2 to go to the other view. So I can swap between them, and it becomes quite easy to move around the scene this way too. Once you start getting quite a large environment, you'll find it quite difficult to navigate to the different areas that you need to get to. So it's quite a nice little bookmark for you to do this, so you don't have to worry about navigating the scene, and you can get to them through this area here, bookmarks, and then you can see there I've got 2 different bookmarks there. You can clear them as well if you want to, and set them this way if you want to, and it also tells you what the shortcut is if you forget that. So that's another little handy thing that you can do. Something else that you can do when it comes to navigating, so I'm just clicking with my left mouse button here and I can move the mouse up to go forward. I can also click with the left mouse button and I can use my WASD controls to navigate the scene too. So it means I've got panning with A and D instead of having to sort of move and then look again if you don't want to do that. Or you've got panning with your middle mouse button as well, which makes it a lot easier to move around the scene. But WASD is quite a nice one. Just don't forget to click your mouse and do this when you're moving. It can be quite fast that way. You've also got a camera speed scroll as well. So if you find that it's quite slow, you can increase that too, just so that things move a lot faster. This again is quite a useful thing if you've got a large environment that you need to navigate around. I would say that that's on the most part the main overview of how to set your project up. So you've got a project ready to go, you've saved your level, it's opening at the right level each time you go into Unreal. You know how to move around the viewport, and some little handy tools there as well, like the bookmarks and the movement speed too. On the most part, other than this, the content browser is quite a handy thing to know where all your files are and all your objects. Anything you've got selected will have the details presented to you in the right hand side here, and you can find what the mesh is, you can find out what material it's got on there. Okay, so that's the basics of how to set your Unreal area up and getting started, just so you know what you're looking at here and trying to make the environment a little bit more comfortable for you, especially if you are struggling with that pan. Okay.